Hi, Year 10. So, this is part two of your instructions for your upcoming textual analysis essay. I want to just quickly take you through the criteria and how you're being marked for this essay. So, you'll notice, like everything in advanced English, we have our criteria rubric is broken up into four different criterion. So, we have criterion A, which is knowledge, understanding, and interpretation. Then we have criterion B, analysis and evaluation, followed by criterion C, focus, organization, and development, and then we have language. Okay, so let's have a look at each different dimension. Okay, and I will explain to you what we're looking for in this task in order to do well. Okay, so as you can see, for knowledge, understanding, and interpretation, you'll notice that there's a little bit of difference in the language, and I've highlighted it here so that you can see the difference in each level from an A to a B to a C to a D, and obviously you can see there's a difference for the E level as well. So at an A level, it says there is excellent knowledge and understanding of both texts that you've chosen, and this is shown through the essay, and a persuasive interpretation of their implications in relation to the chosen topic. So, a lot of big words there. You'll see the difference is that there's excellent knowledge at level A, level B, there's good knowledge, level C, satisfactory knowledge, level D, some knowledge and understanding. Okay, so what this is saying is that in order to get an A or in order to get a B, for example, you need to have excellent knowledge of both of the texts that you have chosen, and there needs to be a very persuasive analysis, almost to the point that your analysis is so convincing because you've analyzed each text thoroughly and you've also used some good supporting evidence. So this goes hand in hand with the next aspect of this dimension, where it says references to the text at an A level are well chosen and effectively support the candidate's ideas. Okay, at a B level, you can say references. You can see references to the text are relevant as opposed to well chosen and effectively support. It just says are relevant and support the candidate's ideas. And at a C level, references to the text are generally relevant. Okay. At a D level, you can see that if you've got a reference to the text that isn't quite relevant or perhaps is an inappropriate piece of evidence that you've chosen from the text, it is possible also to be marked lower for this second dimension. So, what's important, guys, is that the quotes that you choose to include or the pieces of evidence that you choose to include in your peel paragraphs, that they support your thesis really, really well and they support your point sentence really, really well. And that's something that we'll have a look at when we go through peel paragraph structure. Okay, so this is all about, do you understand the text? Do you have a good knowledge of what the text is trying to communicate? And have you analyzed it well through the references that you make? Okay, so through the evidence that you take from each text, the evidence that you've pulled out is really strong in supporting your point. If we have a look at criterion B, this is more so to do with your analysis and evaluation, but also to do with the authorial choices. Okay, so at a level A, you can see it says the essay demonstrates a consistently insightful and convincing analysis. At a level B, it says an appropriate and at times insightful analysis. And at a level C, a generally appropriate analysis. So there's some difference in language there. But also, it's about the comparison between both texts. And that's why the comparative language is really important, because it's not enough just to analyze one text on its own and then analyze the other text on its own and never compare and contrast between them. Remember, if we're comparing apples and oranges, we might look at the texture, the color, then break it apart and see what it looks like on the inside. Do they taste different? All of those things are important here when you're doing your comparing and contrasting. Okay, you'll notice that it says evaluation of textual features and the author's broader choices. So what we're talking about there in your language is, have you evaluated why the author has used symbolism, why the author has used a euphemism, why the author has used perhaps consonants? Okay, you need to always be saying what's the effect. And so if you are writing a peel paragraph where after you've put in your evidence, you explain the evidence really well and the effect that the use of that authorial choice has on the reader, then you can say that yes, you are most likely working at least a B level or hopefully an A level. Okay, so it's always about analyzing and telling me why. What's the point? What effect does it have? Okay. Criterion C, we're looking at how well organized your essay is. So this is about the focus, the organization, and the development of your essay. You can see at an A level, it says the essay is effectively organized, it's balanced, and it's cohesive. It also says that supporting examples are well integrated versus mostly well integrated and well organized, or adequately organized and mostly balanced or sometimes integrated. So there's a lot of things here that rely on your sequencing, your ability to be cohesive in your arguments, and your organization. So the main thing is that if you're planning using the essay template, then you can't go wrong generally, because you'll know that you're trying to plan your introduction, then your body paragraph should follow peel, and then you'll have your conclusion. Okay, so that's really important, making sure that you're following that structure and that each argument links to the next. When we look at criterion D, we're looking at your use of language and your vocabulary. Okay, so at an A level, the language is very clear. Okay, and it's effective, carefully chosen, and precise with a high degree. I'm just going to highlight high degree here because that's really important. That means that you're not making a lot of errors in the words that you're using, your grammar, your spelling, etc. So you can see that it includes grammar, vocab, and sentence construction. I shouldn't be reading it and correcting it. I should be reading it as though I'm an academic scholar. Okay. It also says the register and style are consistently appropriate to the task. So that also plays into the tone that you're using. We want to be using an academic tone when we're writing. We shouldn't be using any casual sort of language, no colloquialisms. Please don't write the author does a pretty good job of explaining how immigrants can face an identity crisis, because that would be low register. All right. And you can see that in the C column and the D column here. The words that I've highlighted showcase that you'd probably have some lapses or frequent errors and things like that. So this really comes down to your proofreading as well, and your ability to make sure that you're using the vocab booklet that I've given you, our comparative word bank on our slides, but also making sure that you're looking for new words to add to your vocabulary. Okay, so that's your criteria. We'll go through this in class again, but it's a good little video, I hope, for you to go back to just to check on how you're being marked and assessed for this task.